Hello, everyone. Hope you are all doing well today. Now, Ninjago is a show about colorful Lego ninjas, most of which having elemental powers, and this show means a lot to me because as all my friends have grown up and stopped watching this show, I, as a man child baby, have kept up with every season of this show and still watch it to this day. Now, one thing about this show, however, is that people who watch this show seem to agree with the fact that seasons 4 through 6 are some sort of golden age for the show, but to be honest, I nearly stopped watching the show when these seasons were coming out. Not because the stories were bad or anything, I just felt that these seasons had a lot of plot holes and had a lot of retcons that made the show make a lot less sense. Let's start with season 4, the Tournament of Elements. This season has the ninja going to the Tournament of Elements led by Shen, where they are trying to find their friend that they previously presumed dead, named Zane. Now, the story of this season, as I said, is good, but I don't like how this season retcons how the ninja got their elemental powers, at least in my eyes, because at the beginning of the show, the original 4 ninja used weapons that had elemental powers, and they were able to unlock more of the weapons' abilities using their true potential. Then, when Lloyd came along and he was revealed to be the green ninja, he had all the elemental powers of the weapons plus his own power. So then in season 3, Lloyd gives those powers to the ninja. So to my understanding up until this point, the ninja got their elemental powers from Lloyd. But this season decides to tell us that the ninja actually got their elemental powers from their parents and that they're passed on from their parents. And this isn't the worst thing in the world, but it always confused me, especially as a kid. And to be honest, Shen is not that interesting of a villain to me. I feel as though Shen is a good villain, but having him be the main antagonist, a goofy, cartoony guy being the main antagonist after a season where we had the incarnate of evil itself, the Overlord, as the main antagonist, kind of felt a little too soon. And I won't get into too much details, but the second half of this season, I feel, wasn't as good as the first half. But this season, overall, doesn't have too many issues. But one thing I will add on before I go on to season 5 is that this season introduces elemental dragons, which is basically a dragon that elemental masters can summon at any time. And this is just very overpowered to me because it basically means that the ninja can just summon dragons and fly around whenever they want, which is a bit too overpowered. I don't know. Season 5. This season is the worst offender. this is the season where Lloyd gets possessed by a ghost who wishes he was the Green Ninja instead of Lloyd, and then that ghost, Morrow, unleashes the Preeminent later on in the season. Pretty good plot overall. None of these seasons have bad plots, but again, the plot holes is where things get a little weird. So it's explained in this season that if ghosts touch water, they die. And this is a little bit too much of a nerf in my opinion, but it's okay, I guess. But where that becomes a problem is the fact that these ghosts are near water all the time in this season, even when they can just avoid it. And this season also reveals that Nia's supposed to be the elemental master of water, but that Sensei Wu, their sensei, just kept this information from her, which is still not explained to this day. The reason could be sexism for all we know. But again, not the worst thing in the world. The Cloud Kingdom, though. I hate the Cloud Kingdom. I'm glad that Dragons Rising retcons how it works. The Cloud Kingdom is basically a place where the inhabitants can write down stuff on some scrolls, and it happens in Ninjago, which basically turns the people of Ninjago into these puppets that have no free will. Basically, the writers in the Cloud Kingdom pretty much write down what happens and they do it, which was very stupid to me. I'm glad that Dragons Rising decided to reintroduce the concept of the Cloud Kingdom and reveal that, oh, they can't actually control anyone. They just write stuff down and think they have control when they don't. That's much better to me. Nia, though, when she hears that she's the elemental master of water, everyone acts like she has to give up being Samurai X. But she really doesn't. Samurai X is an identity she gave to herself where she has this massive robot suit that she can fight people with. And I don't get why she has to ditch the robot suit. You can have elemental powers and a giant robot suit. You don't need to give one up, but they act like she does. Also, Morrow can be kind of cringe at times, but it's funny. Like, one time he yells, "I will stop you from talking." I don't know why that line resonates with me, but it kind of does. I don't know. But that's when we get into Season 6, which I believe has not as bad of issues as Season 5. This season is the one where there's a genie or djinn named Nanakon who twists people's wishes to make it so that they get trapped into his sword. But doing that is revealed later on to be pointless because it turns out you can just hit people with the sword and they'll go inside it. I feel as though this season also marks the start of the fall off of Zane's character. Zane was my favorite character in season 1 through 3, but then nowadays he just acts like a husk of his former self, who is a robot he was always a robot, but these days he acts even more robotic than before instead of having any human attributes, which I feel is lazy writing. I feel as though those problems started here. I'm not sure though. I haven't watched these seasons in forever. The Sword of Sanctuary, a sword that can tell people glimpses of the future, is never used in this season. Not sure why. And even though it was introduced just a season before, I also am not the biggest fan of the fact that the ninja are treated like these controversial celebrities in this season. I kind of like the idea of heroes not really having celebrity status and being able to be a relatable part of society without having so much glory and fame while also doing their job. But I guess they're celebrities now in this season. Don't know why. And I mean, come to think of it, it makes sense because the ninja have done so much. Obviously, they're going to be well known. I just, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but that's just my own personal bias. Nia continues the identity crisis too. She thinks she can't be Samurai X, even though there's no reason for her not to be. So, these are just my overall thoughts about this so-called golden era of Ninjago. Let me know in the comments if you all disagree with me or not. I almost stopped watching the show during this era. Season 8 was what got me fully back into it. But, yeah, these aren't the worst seasons of the show. They just suffer from a lot of plot holes and retcons that make me not really want to watch them as much as seasons like Sons of Garmadon or even Rebooted, even though a lot of people seem to hate Rebooted now. But yeah, that's just about everything I wanted to say. Hope you all have a good one. Thank you.